Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ryan Elly Show.
Hi.
Really looking forward to sharing with you a little bit about activity trackers, but before we start, we're just going to do something now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my watch on and I am going to set a HIIT workout. So we use an Apple Watch and there'll be a little bit of context as to why a little bit later on in the show, but it's in keeping with what we sort of always do, we try and share a little bit of real life, and it's been a bit of I'd say probably the toughest week of our life, really, hasn't it? I'd say without being dramatic, last 10 days, we feel like everything's sort of just been thrown at us, isn't it?
Yeah, if you follow us on social media, then you'll know that, I'm really going to try not to get upset. We lost our Alfie. I'm going to get so upset, so excuse me.
So we record these obviously as we're going along. We're going to Dubai this week, so we obviously wanted to make sure we've got enough recording in advance. And last week we had to say goodbye to Alfie, who was Ellie's dog first and foremost. He then was our dog, then he was our children's dog, and it's like, he's been in Ellie's life for 12 years, mine for 10 or 11, and very, very challenging times. He was really not well, was he?
Right, and like how for some reason, I don't like to describe him as our dog, because I just feel as if he was so much more than, and I know that everyone probably feels this way about their pets and things, but he was more than just a dog. And I always used to have this thing with Alfie, because I just felt as if his personality was really fun. I had visions of him as if his personality was a Frenchman and his actual name was Sebastian, with a top hat and a pipe, just because of how we used to sit. And I just kind of look back over the years and kind of in a way, and I know that he's out of suffering, out of pain, and I know that's you keep saying we've done good for him and at the end type thing, and I just hope he's somewhere smoking his pipe with his top hat on, saying bonjour.
Yeah, it's we had this conversation with the vet, because, if you've ever been in this situation, and, it's a horrible thing, because you've got this being, is their life is in your hands, and it's down to you to make that decision. And the vet said something, and it sort of got me thinking, and it's sort of linked to people with their health and fitness as well. It's we as a society have become very good, or the way we've modernized and progressed with medicine and things like that, very good at keeping people living, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're always necessarily having the best quality of life. And at the end of the day, they could have thrown more drugs at him, more medication at him to keep him alive for a little bit longer. But we had to question, for us, was that a personal selfish thing, which it would have been, as opposed to what's better for him. And when you link that to sort of humans, it's well, hold on a minute, how much are we doing to make sure that we have a quality of life for as long as possible? We talk about the marginal decade with clients, don't we? About how will your life look for the last 10 years of your life if you carry on living the way you are now? Are you gonna still be fit, healthy, strong, able to pick things up, run around with grandchildren? Or are you possibly making decisions now that further down the line may impact your enjoyment later on in life?
Yeah, and I think it's also looking at as well the things that you're doing and the reasoning behind the things that you do. Is it in order to kind of promote your well-being, or are the decisions that you're making and the choices that you're making, are they actually impacting your well-being? And that's why it's really important to kind of have a look at the things that you are doing daily or in your life. And it could be the reasons behind why you do certain activities, or reasons behind why you perhaps choose certain foods, or how you feel. And I can't stress enough the importance behind looking at and ensuring that you're doing things to improve your quality of life, to improve your moods. And enjoyment factor is a key thing. Then it's really understanding the reasons behind why you do the things that you do. And if there's any question mark about perhaps an unhealthy relationship, or you're doing it out of a form of punishment, you deserve the best.
And it sort of always again links back to that health, happiness, health, happiness, you know, and if it's a form of punishment, you're probably going against detrimental to your mental health, you know, and that's where we really just want to be drawing that line back. And like we talk a lot about gratitude, and that's another thing that we were able to do, although like the grieving process is so challenging. It's like being able to take that step out a little bit. You know, we've had to be there to support the girls because, you know, bless them, it's their first experience of grief, especially for May. She's 10, very, very vulnerable age, and, you know, bless the way she sobbed her heart out. I'll never forget that.
Needs a bit confused.
Yeah, being able to take that step out and take a place of gratitude to actually, you know what, we had all these quality times, these memories, and we've had laughs about like literally 2 months ago, he's taking himself on the walk around the block like fucking nuts. You know, he leave the gate open, he was just off around the block. He come bounding back, Ellie shouting at him, and he's sort of like smiling back. You know,
yeah, I had the best hour of my life, and even like I remember the postman, and so like it's even like when we had to like tell like people close to us that he wasn't very well, we had to let the cleaners know. They broke down in tears. We had to let the postman know, because the thing with Alfie is he loves cars when they come up the driveway. So if we're coming into our drive and he's outside, we have to let him in. We had to let him into our car.
In the end, we had to carry him, but he was jumping in.
But he would be jumping into the postman's van, and so he would be off going doing the rounds of the postman. I remember, I think it was like last month, the postman came back to the house, and I was like, oh yes, my like parcels coming in.
What have I got today?
Yeah, I was like, oh yes, Ryan's not in, so here we go, get my parcel in, and he delivered me Alfie, and I was like, oh, are they the best thing ever?
So yeah, that's what we've had sort of thrown at us the last week. But other good news, Aoife May was away
in Guernsey
representing Tigers, and she's got PBs on that.
Team
so
one.
We saw some positives on that. But we wanted to talk today about activity trackers and the positives, the negatives, the challenges, the things to be aware of, because, you know, there's a huge plethora of data that can be pulled from them. There's so many different trackers out there in the marketplace now, and we're not here to give you which ones are best, which ones are worse, or compare them. But what we are here to do is give you a coach's perspective of to where we can gain knowledge and use them, but also recognising the flaws behind them, because there are some flaws as well, aren't there?
Yeah, and I have to admit, I love having as much data as possible. I literally, especially like more so like as I'm getting into kind of like training, like for me, and this is where like I think my relationship with the activity side has improved massively, because to me, I'm not exercising for calorie burning. I'm exercising for performance, and that has definitely helped improve my relationship with exercise. But I just love looking at everything. So I love looking at like, you know, my heart rate zones. I'm understanding more so about how to progress like my performance. So I'm finding out looking at my heart rate zones has been really effective. Looking at like obviously my splits in my running, looking at my stride lengths. You know, so I love the fitness tracker in that respect. The craziest thing is often I think about, what did we do before fitness trackers?
That was it. That's the next thing that I was going to say, because I don't actually know what we did, because it is one of those. We had it, and I remember, was it last year, your watch broke. Yeah. And that was just between me and Ellie. Like, I like mine for the data, but I'm not. We've always said we're very different in the way that we approach things. I probably don't look in the same level of depth as Ellie, and it's the same. That's why you'll see on Ellie's post, there's very rarely going to be a typo. Her post is a lot more perfect. Mine will have errors. Very much the same type of thing. You know, like I'll go on, I'll look at what's my rough steps. Have I closed my rings? Because I know my rings mean I'm not being lazy for the day. And then I've ticked that box. So there's how much data you want to use versus how much is available will vary from person to person. I do think that's quite important to be aware of from the start. But it's also recognising that the more data you can use, the more to your benefit, isn't it? You know, it helps you gain perspective.
Yeah, and I think it helps improve like your relationship and the reasons behind why you're doing. And it's really important to segregate like using like the activity that you're doing, that so the calories that you're burning as a way of form of punishment or undoing an action or decision that you have made prior. Like, you know, that you always see like things like, you know, you need X amount of calories, you need to run X amount of miles to burn off a Mars bar or something like that. And I think that's where it's important to really understand, and I talk about this a lot, is the emotion that you feel with regards to your fitness tracker. So for example, you know, if it has run out of battery, what's the thought that you have? It's like, does that workout not count? You know, like we always have a joke, and if you haven't set your workout, it's like, oh God, that workout didn't count. But like, put into perspective, before we had fitness trackers, we were still doing the workout. But you know, like, if you haven't got your watch on, does that mean that you become less active? Because it's not going to add up? Or, you know, and I just think it's really important to really come to terms with, you know, how does your watch make you feel? Yeah,
and I think it's also looking at your mindset surrounding when you start wearing one. You know, like Ellie said, they're great. They're great for an accountability tool. If you're somebody just getting started, we would be saying change nothing. Mm-hmm. Look at the data from it. You know, it's a whole track, assess, adapt thing again, isn't it? You know, track what you do for a week. If you barely move for a week, barely move for the first week of wearing one, look at what you do over that week and be like, right, that's my benchmark now. I'm going to set myself a small attainable goal. But what it then does is that gives you accountability to be like, right, I'm looking for a 5 or 10% increment in my step count, or a 5% increase in my stand count, or whatever it may be. You know, you might be able to go into a little bit more depth on, like Ellie said, where you can look at your running splits, you know, you can look at your stride lengths. There's so much that you can get from these different trackers now, but it's about finding data that's relevant to your goals and using it in a healthy manner. I think that's the most important thing. I would say if you get nothing else from this whole episode, I think that would probably be the most important thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it can be really useful. So for example, because you can obviously look back at previous data, like the previous days and weeks and months. So for whatever reason you've hit a plateau in your progress and you're wondering like, what's changed? Like, I feel as if my nutrition's been really good. You can obviously then go back and you can then like review, oh, actually, perhaps maybe your activity has dropped slightly, you know, and that could be the reason behind. So it's really useful, because I feel as if everyone can really gain a lot by understanding, you know,
what they're doing.
The thing is, kind of I have a question mark is when someone is literally tracking like their every move. So, you know, every walk that they're doing, they have to then create a workout, or, you know,
this is where it's sort of, I think, distinguishing a difference between activity and exercise, or workout. You know?
So for example, like,
if you're bimbling around town,
I'm not gonna. But like in the past, I would have done that, because in my head I was like, I need to get the calories.
Movement.
Any movement I'm doing, it needs to be recorded because I need to see everything. But then, to me, that's not a healthy approach, and I'm all about having healthy relationships with everything, and that's something that I want with all of our clients, and it's something that, you know, that we completely, I'm 100% preach. So for me, my fitness tracker is beneficial for me to do with my workouts from a performance perspective. It's not a way for me to kind of see how many calories I'm burning, because I don't think that is beneficial for majority of people.
100%. And I think that that's the most vital thing for any of us. You know, we're not hamsters on a wheel. We shouldn't be looking at, I need to burn this number of calories day to day. Just let's look at the overall data as to where we're at and build a gauge from it as a lifestyle. And that's where, when we talk about, even like we've talked about the tracking of the food before, you know, you don't want to start adding workout, exercise, calories to your food tracker. Like, for example, my MyFitnessPal, thinking I can eat that many more calories, because that's not a lifestyle approach. You know, it has to be done in a healthy manner. It's like, that's why now I put it on a HIIT workout, just to show you how there has its flaws. You know, this is now said that I've done 70 active calories sat on my ass for the last 13 minutes. You know, there's no way that
I bet like my calories probably have only gone up. I should have checked what my calories were on at the start. Probably have only gone up like 2 or 3 calories by sat here.
And that's what we want to try and share with you, because sometimes you can manipulate data, like doing this. You know, this technology is great, but it's only going to utilize what you tell it. The other thing is it's recognizing that everyone's slightly different. For example, if me and Ellie go out and walk around the block, we don't track a walk now unless we're going for a real brisk walk. We don't track a walk because we're just like, do you know what, this is just movement about us, keeping our steps up, having a bit of us time, forgetting about the world. We will walk, and without a shadow of a doubt, when we've walked for 9 minutes, my watch vibrates. Are you doing a walk? And I look at Ellie, I'm like, am I logging this or not? And Ellie looks at me, and Ellie doesn't get notification. But that can sometimes, we put large part of that down to fitness levels. Ellie's heart rate probably doesn't go up as quite as high as mine does when we go on that walk. But it just shows how there are discrepancies in it. And it could be like, well, I could log that walk, and it's going to give me that much more exercise, but we'll have done the same amount of exercise, but Ellie will get no extra reward for it, so to speak, based on this. So it's like I'd close my exercise ring, Ellie won't have moved a minute on hers. So,
and the thing is, and the reality is, I've still got the movement in, I've still got the same amount of steps in. Why am I allowing the dictation of a watch determine how hard my day has been? And that's important. It's about breaking that cycle.
Yeah. And the other slant, if Eddie had at the start of the walk tracked the walk, it would have added the exercise on and added calories on. Now tell us which one's right. Answer on a postcard, because
it can be
the
confusing.
Movement's the exact same. Yeah. So
if you're like kind of, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. There you go, taste of your own medicine there.
That's what it feels like.
If you are new to kind of working on a weight loss journey and you've got a fitness tracker, so you're doing all the things that, we feel as if like we should all be doing, but it can be so confusing because you can be like, well, I've burned this amount of calories, I need to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. How do you know which numbers to do? So it can be really confusing, and sometimes it can encourage that unhealthy relationship where you start, the MyFitnessPal will start taking into consideration the calories that you've burnt that day, but how do you know that those numbers are actually accurate for start? Yeah. And then you do start, and then maybe you're not seeing the progress that you want because the numbers aren't so reliable because of the fitness tracker. It can become so confusing, and then it promotes an unhealthy relationship. Then you want to give up, your self-worth can drop. And so for us, this is the reason why we're doing today's podcast, is because we kind of want to, fitness trackers are great. We both have one for the right reasons. It's really important to recognize that it's about your fitness trackers to promote your well-being overall, for you to kind of continue on your journey of feeling the best, but have that balance with what message you're getting from it. That's
it. And it's, if you are doing that, it's recognizing as well, like for example, Apple Watches, I know some of the others, you set yourself goals on them, making sure that the goals are healthy. You know, like we put our exercise and our goals on the lower side, because we want to be hitting them as part of a rest day. Like in the past, total honesty, we set them too high and it was unhealthy. If you are somebody who's got your exercise rings, I'm just going to just let me pull it up. I'm not just being distracted. So if you've got your move ring, which is calories for movement, set to a level that you're pacing up and down or you're jumping up and down in the evening to hit them, they're set too high for your lifestyle. You've got to acknowledge either A, you need to reduce it down, or B, there's something that your lifestyle is not as active as you want it to be. Do something during the day. Don't be jumping up and down in the evening. So we lower ours. Like for example, we're going away next week. We will lower our exercise goal. We'll also lower our stand goal. We lower them all because it's like, do you know what? It's realistic. We want to tick the boxes, because I do think having that non-negotiable of let's close our rings can be a healthy thing, provided the data or the target is healthy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say something.
Ellie's going through this thing.
I think
with what we've had going on, and I'm not making excuses up Ellie much. Ellie's brain has been a little bit like, what's going on? I think we've both been a bit like that, and it's one of them things where we're like, just take a second out, breathe.
I remembered what I was going to say.
Remember what you're going to say?
Yeah, what I was going to say is, as well, like with the goals, they can be adapted. They can be changed. So like so based on your life and whatever stage you're in right now, if you're going through something where you need to reduce it, your watch can be reduced. It doesn't mean that, you're not doing well, but I think it's all about, again, promoting what's going to make you feel good. You reducing your activity goals for a period of time, whether it's a week, a couple of weeks, a month or so, is not necessarily you failing. It's just doing the best you can at this moment in time, and that should be recognised and credited for. You've not stopped. You're accounting for everything that's going on in your actual life, and that's really important. Like Ryan said, we change it when we go on holiday. So your goals can always be adaptable.
Yes. It's like the whole scales thing. The moment this is impacting how you feel is the moment you take it off and put it away for a while. Give it a break. If something's telling you can't do that, you need to do it even more. And it's not always, we're not hypocrites for doing it because we've done it before, but we have struggled with that in the past. Total honesty, it's one of those things. That's
what I was going to say. Is when I got sepsis at the end of last year, because we have I have Ryan connected, we've got a couple of the team connected on our watches. I actually had to take my watch off because it was mentally not promoting me feeling good, and it was because I was getting one of the notifications. Ryan just completed this, and I was thinking, I'm starting the new year, seeing everyone's New Year's resolutions. I'm sat in hospital, literally in the worst.
Pissed off with me. I was getting shitty messages. Why are you doing that work? Can I mute her? But then it tells you if you've muted someone.
Yeah, so then I just thought, you know what? I have to protect myself. I have to work on what's right for me. I can't be annoyed at Ryan for doing what's right for him, because he was doing, what helped him at that moment in time feel good mentally, because he was so concerned about me being in hospital. So I get, he was doing the workouts because that's, it was important for him. So for me, I had to question why I was getting impacted by someone else doing workouts. I took the watch off. So again, I'll become aware of your thoughts and feelings towards your fitness tracker. If you're not getting a good feeling from it, have a break.
And also on that slant is become aware of who you're connecting with and what you might be doing to them. So for example, we've been aware of it, and that's why we won't connect with clients on it. And it's not because we don't want to see what we're doing or they're doing or things like, because all of our clients will share with us on a personal level. We just don't want them to feel like we're a benchmark, because everybody's different lifestyles, different goals. It is important that the people you're connecting with have a healthy approach. There's not going to be comparison. Competition can be healthy as long as it is healthy and it's done in a healthy manner. But the last thing you want to do is connect with someone you're much more active than them and you're making them feel like shit as well, because that's also negative. So there's so many different ways and angles to look at it. If you are going to get one and you haven't got one, you're going to connect with people, make sure you have a healthy approach. I know Ellie's on Strava now as well.
Love it. I am toying with getting a Garmin, so if anyone's listening, I've got a question for you. Which is the best Garmin
Let us know down below.
Let us know if you're a Garmin watcher.
And and Ellie tells me about everyone gives each other kudos.
He secretly wants to be on it, don't you? You do.
It was we was walking somewhere.
I've got
at the school pickup, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Ellie, I've seen you there. Second on this track." I was like, "What's that?" And she was like, "Must be on Strava."
Get this.
It's a Strava thing.
I was called a legend on my Strava because it says you're the local legend on Beauchamp Sprint.
There we go then.
There we go. So today I'm a legend.
So
take them one for the team.
There's loads of different ways to track activity, exercise. You can do it the good old fashioned way. Here's the route I'm going to run and track it. You can use a proper tracker and have all the data. The most important thing for us is the way that it's done is done with a healthy approach. I think that's the main message we want to get across here. We obviously would always say data is going to help you. There's more progress behind knowledge, isn't there? And we often say what we get, what we're tracking is going to be easier to manage. You'll be able to look at the data and be like, oh, actually, I've been less active this month. Perhaps I'd expect less progress. That could sometimes help. What we don't want it to ever be is like, I've been as active, I've messed up, because you haven't. There's life,
Yeah, and it's like, you might find certain workouts you will burn lower calories than others. It doesn't mean that the quality of the workout hasn't been as high. It's just your heart rate hasn't gone up, or there might be a certain period in your month where it's actually important for you to kind of like have a lower intense workout. For example, a leg workout versus an upper body, my heart rate goes so much higher in my legs workout, but it doesn't mean that my upper body workout wasn't as beneficial as my legs workout. It's just, I just know that for me, lunges get my heart rate up.
Yeah, and then there's other things as well, like, for example, a lot of these trackers will use heart rate as the only gauge of calories burn, level of quality of things. So don't allow that to dictate everything.
Yeah.
Deep down your rate of exertion, how much you put into them. So it's almost take the data with a pinch of salt, use it to your benefit, but don't allow it to get too much in here, because it will mess with your mind. And as soon as you start to feel that, we strongly suggest putting the tracker down, having at least a week or two without it. If you then start to notice quite quickly after putting it back on and the health relationship comes back, just don't track. You don't need to. You can still have a great quality workout without doing it, without the data for it. I don't think was there anything else you wanted to add on that? No, I think that was pretty much it. If you do have any other questions on it or our thoughts, feel free to obviously drop us a message, put the comments below. We will answer them all. I think we had a question that we were going to answer from today. As always, if you haven't already, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're dropping live podcasts every single Friday. And if you have got any video questions like this video, please do send them our way and we will answer your questions.
Hey guys, any recommendations for an ab workout to help tighten up these abs? Thanks.
Oh, okay. I would actually say it's quite a common question we get asked. I would but I don't think we have any clients that we started. Okay, I can categorically say we have never put an ab workout in a client's workouts when they first started, unless they were postnatal, when it was not even ab specific, it was a lot more core specific.
Deep core.
That Ellie's done postpartum. And there's a reason behind it. So, without knowing a lot about this viewer, a lot of the time to tighten your abs up, you've just got body fat sat on top of muscle.
Everyone's got a set of abdominals underneath. We've all got them as part of our skeleton. If you were to vision what we look like, if stripped apart, we've all got the abdominals.
So my first thing would be, let's look at your overall body composition first. If you are somebody that has a bit of body fat there and it's not actually that there's an absence of muscle there, it would be, let's get moving more. Let's make sure that we're doing the big compound lifts so that we're working our core when we're doing them. So compound lifts, we're talking about, let's get squats, your rows, pull downs, chest presses, shoulder presses.
We said deadlifts.
Deadlifts, if I haven't said them. Let's get those movements in first and foremost, because you need to engage your core to the minute. You try to do any of those without engaging your core,
protects you. You're
going to hurt yourself. So that would be my first thing, and then looking at the nutrition side of things.
Yeah, 100%. So looking at your nutrition, the quality of the food that you're eating. Obviously, in order to kind of see the muscles, we need to kind of drop some body fat. So it's making sure that the food that you're eating support your goal to lose body fat. But it's also really important, to be making sure that the nutrient quality of the foods that you're eating is also high, because, also you want the colours, you want the nutrients, because that's going to help also with your digestion and things like that. And then because this is also I don't know, it's common in everyone that asks us, but from a postpartum perspective, a lot of time, mums will come in and they will think that because they've just given birth and, let's all be honest, I'll be honest, we become fixated on our midsections because that's had most of the change. And so often we feel as if we were to do more abdominals, that's going to kind of help us. But in theory, that could actually make things worse for a lot of postpartum mums, because obviously for many of us, myself included, when we've gained all this weight, you know, on our front side, where it's our breasts, our midsection, because that's where we carry the baby. It has put a lot of pressure on our core, and for many, it's very common for our abdominals to have a slight separation. Now, if you're wanting to just kind of work on doing abdominals, or like a traditional ab crunch from a postpartum perspective, what happens with that movement is it can actually make that separation wider, so it actually is hindering your recovery. So it's really important to just kind of don't just be so fixated on the stomach. Like Ryan said, you know, your core, which is your deeper muscles, which aren't just like the rectus abdominals, which people seem to be more fixated on, is so much more important, because it's good from a posture, it's good from like a pelvic floor perspective. So yeah.
Yes, it's like even when we started doing these podcasts, my first thought was the first chairs that we had, I slouched. My core was relaxed, and I've like sat there like that. So first thing we would be saying is like, think about, are you engaging your core? Obviously, if you know, it's a great question, good core workout. You don't need nothing complex. I'd probably say, you know, if you can do some weighted dumbbell crunches, get dumbbells on the shoulders, 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions, and maybe some hanging leg raises.
Yeah, hanging leg raises I like.
And
you don't really need to spend a lot of time, I find, with abdominals. I literally can't.
Yeah, so if you did those 2 exercises, 3 sets of 10 to 12, a couple of times a week, 30 seconds rest between sets, that's going to be more than sufficient if you're doing that compounded with your big movements on the other body parts and your nutrition, obviously, and lifestyle. I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell, isn't it? I hope that answered the question well. Obviously, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments, send us a video of your questions. And other than that, do we have anything else to add? No, I don't think we do. So on that note, please do not forget to like and subscribe. If you found this helpful, please do share it as well so that we can help more people. Thank you very much. Cheesy wave.
Is that right? Oh, you didn't.
I did forget. Oh, whoa. I forgot. I'm going to stop my workout.
Freeze, pause.
We did our cheesy wave. All right. I've just finished my high intensity HIIT workout, sat on my
We all
backside.
watched him. He's not done anything.
And we have got a 99 calories active and 160 calories total burnt. So, you know, if you put that in perspective, it's giving me in half an hour 99 extra calories. It should be an extra 200 calories and an hour effectively. Just through sat on my backside, I've not done anything different apart from put that I'm doing a workout.
And I think when we last spoke, I looked at my watch. I've burnt 8 calories since then. So
it just shows how you can manipulate data. We're not saying that they're not accurate, because they can be, but what we are saying is, you know, I haven't just done a HIIT workout and there's no way that I'm burning, like, you know, if we do the total calories, 320 calories an hour sat here, there's no way I'm burning that many calories an hour, you know. So let's just take the calories burnt with a little bit of caution if we didn't make that clear early on in today's episode.
Take 2 with the cheesy wave.
See ya.
Bye.